Gabriel has said, "Let their voice be heard." And you have answered in the affirmative, "Let their voice be heard." This agreement twixt heaven and earth is the completing of the circle of cosmic fire. As above in the heart of Alpha, so below in the heart of Omega. The confirmation of our word is come. You have provided the magnet, God has provided the instrument, and we converge at the point of the heart of a world in distress. Purity is my name, Elohim of God, complement of the better known Lady Fair Astreia. Yet I speak in the fire of the divine us, with the joy of comfort and the assurance that the purity of God is able to dissolve all planetary impurity, for it is the white fire core of every man's being. Let it roll, let it thunder, let it flow, let it in fire, let it be the joyous fount of hearts rising to reach the maximum potential of being. We come to illustrate a planetary need, and also to illustrate that those entrusted with the torch of freedom to a dying world, even your representatives in this government, do not have the solution to the South American question or to the Castro connection. We would call it the dilemma of the watchers and their godless creation. But the people in general, not aware of the cause behind the effect, seem to name the enemy by the uniform or the doctrinal position of that one. Blessed hearts, by now you surely know that they are positioned at all points of the circle, that circle being the antithesis of the circle of light. The positioning of the hierarchy of God as mighty seraphim on all the degrees of the circle of life is the point of the beginning of our consideration of the problems of Latin America. In the first instance, all must be unprejudiced to realize that the watchers whose archetype is personified in Fidel Castro have been among the oppressors of the people for centuries. Great are the crimes of the fallen ones in South America, for they have been the imitators of the path of Omega's sons. They have placed themselves in positions of rightest royalty, decking themselves with honor, with gold and diamond and precious jewel, in imitation of the sons of God. They have anointed themselves kings and priests and allowed the little people to become impoverished. Now some of these little people are the dear hearts of Mother Mary and the creation in the beginning of Elohim. Others of the ignorant masses are a strain of mechanization man formed by other Nephilim who also moved on this continent. As you have heard of their movement in the Middle East and on the African continent. Therefore, some are the godless, empty ones who are ready to follow a demagogue, ready to follow the watcher in whatever direction. Thus the arch-deceiver in the person of the black magician comes along. You must realize that those that are on the position of the circle in the rightest camp are other Nephilim gods, self-styled gods, and they are in competition with one another. By the rivalries and the competition of the fallen ones, we find them at the point of the extreme right and the extreme left, merely as a point of their own rhetoric, as a point of assembling the masses on their own side for their own personal self-aggrandizement. And no matter what they say or pursue, they do not have the fate of the people at heart. The people to them are expendable at any moment that they move against their own enormous ego. Therefore, the tragedy of tragedies that those who appear to defend the so-called American way of life will indiscriminately eliminate from among the people the leaders in labor, teachers, priests, all those who even incline the ear to the message, the new and combustible message out of the East, out of the tale of world communism. Thus, there is no compassion, and the human dilemma, which does indeed have a way out, but this human dilemma becomes, where shall we position the pillars of our forces? Where shall we position the pilasters? Moria has spoken, neither to the right nor to the left. You ought to adhere to this more than you do, for above all it is not wise to give yourself the appearance of being in any extreme position, politically or otherwise. For the people whom you serve and the God within them must see you as emissaries of Alpha and Omega, not condescending to extremes of right and left. Nor is the middle of the road a safe place, as you can easily see. It is the point to be caught in the crossfire. It is also the point of indecisiveness, and indecisiveness has become the way of this nation's approach to the affair of world communism. As you know, indecisiveness is a perversion of the mother flame, of the white fire of the base chakra. This fire rises as a pillar of ascension's flame in the sons of God. Now, beloved ones, it is turned on as a mighty jet of white fire by decisiveness, decisive action, devotion to the Almighty One, and God determination to stand for life and not death. Those then who vacillate in their decisions are like those who first turn on the jet of fire, then turn it off, then turn it on again, and therefore they have not a momentum of drive and thrust from many incarnations to be ready in this hour when, above all, it is necessary to champion the cause of the poor in spirit, who are the children of the mother, and to recognize that some who are the impoverished masses are the very dregs of the Nephilim machine of mechanization man, who themselves become the implementation of murder and terror and darkness and destruction. Theirs is the counter-revolution, and it is led actively by the force of the personality Castro, one of the original watchers, and it is led passively by the right elements and even the military leaders of South America, who have not bothered to stoop with the bending of the tall tree to the little hearts and the dear hearts who are beneath them only in outer rank, yet who tower above them in the eyes of God. Thus you can understand the prophecy of the supper of the great God, when the captains and the kings and the mighty men, in all of their patterns of illusory identity, are devoured by the forces of the flying eagle Sanat Kumara in one grand conflagration of transmutation by the sacred fire. What of the interim? What of the middle that comes after the beginning and is before the end? Ah, yes, this is the question that even we have placed before Alpha and Omega. Therefore the divine us, Astreia and purity come to consecrate the white fire of our momentum and the blue lightning of the cosmic mother, to move against the amalgamation on a planetary scale of the forces of darkness, pitted against the lonely ones, those who are as helpless in the fields, the farms, and the jungles of South America as Christ Jesus himself was upon the cross. It is their hour of the crucifixion. It is the hour of the betrayal of the masses of mechanized man by their Nephilim overlords. It is the hour of the converging of worlds. Enter Saint Germain. Enter the keepers of the flame. And be still as I speak. In this hour of cycles turning, let the great heart of the Almighty appear in the hearts of Chelas everywhere. You must be aware of your lawful service, to give that attention which does not interfere with the cycles of Elohim. You must give consideration to an entire planetary body that must, for a moment, in the pause of half an hour, experience the great silence and the in-breath, whereby we assemble, whereby the forces of the fourth ray on a cosmic level encircle the earth and anchor through seraphim and through chelas of the sacred fire, now the drawing into our bodies of light of this mass momentum of the betrayal of the people, which does indeed go back to the days of fallen Lemuria and pre-Lemurian experience in this world. Blessed hearts of light, let the kingdoms of this world become the kingdoms of our God, Elohim, and of the Lord I am that I am, and of his Christ, and of the mother flame, the living word. I come then disposed to release the action of the sacred fire, and I am the implementation of the mighty circle and sword. Now it is a cosmic manifestation. Now it is the trimming of those forces aligned in the antithesis of the circle of fire, those who move against life in the degrees 360. Therefore let the opponents of the 12 hierarchies of the sun beware, for some beloved hearts do not appear to be antagonistic to the great God flame. So mild-mannered is their disparaging comment against the servitors of the light. Blessed ones of the healing action of the sacred fire, know that shooting forth from our own fiery hearts is the emerald ray, is the ruby ray, is the action to pinpoint by the needle ray of the Almighty One the cause and core of those conditions of consciousness that are the originating points of Antichrist, left, right, center, above and beneath all perversions of our oneness, for only oneness and only the divine whole can cover the entire spectrum of life upon earth. Therefore, leave off your positionings in time and space. Feed my lambs, he said. Feed my lambs in the fullness of Christ's own victory of love. One by one, find the heart that the living word has ignited. Fan the flame. Teach the children of God. Give to them the sword of the Spirit. Go forth as the arm of the core of peace of Elohim. Go forth as living witnesses of the sacred fire. Let our voice be heard, and let the legions of the violet flame descend. Certain among the body of light, selected and carefully chosen, must also position themselves in Mexico and Central America, moving southward. One keeper of the flame, one dedicated heart, appearing here and there, is the start of the fanning of the fires of world freedom. Blessed ones, when you are faced with the counter war, with the enemies of righteousness, when the needy must look down the barrel of a gun instead of into the face of the Blessed Mother, it seems perhaps out of place to suggest that teaching the teachings, giving the word, preaching the light, transferring the mantle should be the answer. Beloved hearts, it takes moments and perhaps merely weeks to destroy a nation. In a year, 10,000 dead and more. And yet in a year, how many light bearers can be raised up? How many Christed ones can appear? Do not forsake the love of the Virgin Mary. Do not forsake the path of service to her blessed ones. Realize that Alpha and Omega understand the plight of the deliverers upon earth. Therefore, we are sent, and we come, and we draw in these building momentums to give opportunity to the sons of God to erase the image, the Nephilim image of America in these nations of the earth. They are not in reality anti-American. They are anti the Nephilim gods wherever they appear, and they have seen themselves betrayed by the members of this nation, even as they have also seen single, beautiful souls called Americans stand for righteousness and truth. Positioning then in the government of this country and in the church and in the departments of the state, state by state, and in the federal government is always important. Information given to the public at large is a major consideration. But above all, the dynamic decrees, nuclei, sun centers of amethyst jewel appearing, form the boundary of light for the protection of this stronghold, that all who desire freedom may assemble here. Blessed hearts, a wondrous miracle is taking place in America, for here there is the great gathering of the elect. Lovers of freedom from every nation are coming here. Can you not imagine a moment in Earth's history of the converging of these patriots of the nations with the point of reality, the divine awareness of the I Am Presence? The converging of fiery hearts and fervor of soul with a teaching that can be implemented. I say it is possible. You therefore must discover who are the recent immigrants from these Central American countries. They are in Los Angeles. They are in many cities. And they have striven to enter in, some for economic reasons, but many because they follow the flame of liberty despite its misrepresentation by this government. Realize then that nuclei, sun centers of amethyst jewels in the Polish community, in the German community, midst the Czechoslovakians and Hungarians, midst those from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, those who are coming forth from Nicaragua. These individuals must have the teaching, and they must have teachers. Let them build a stronghold of light. Let them build a resistance movement. Let them do the work of the dynamic decrees. Many among them are ready to respond. May I remind you, it is the decade of the 80s. The sign of the everlasting gospel, the 8th covenant of the Almighty One, the sign of the ruby ray and of cosmic integration. It is a new era, a new moment of opportunity. You can see that along the borders of Texas, there is the build-up of those who are the restless, discontented masses, those who see the light and the abundance of America and consider it a cosmic injustice. They must be God-taught. We desire to see our groups springing up in this state. Therefore we send you, and I desire to see reinforcements for this stump, for you are stumping in the name of Saint Germain for that revolution in higher consciousness. You are implanting in the very earth of that state violet flame focuses, and you are dealing with a direct confrontation of world communism a la Fidel Castro. Therefore, it is a mission for dynamic decrees. It is a mission for a perpetual Saturday night Saint Germain service in that state. There must be awakened those who are also complacent by wealth, as well as those who have come over the border and are being influenced in their labor unions by those of Marxist inclination. You know it is the desire of Castro to see inside of America cells of communists who will rise up and join the oncoming armies of the South to overturn the cities and to begin a communist revolution in America. Therefore, we envision focuses of the Amethyst Jewel, Montessori schools, and a program of the distillation of information concerning all of these matters. This is a new year and a new moment for this movement. It demands originality, creativity, and the moving forward from the old matrix unto the new. For year by year, as new dispensations are given, new cycles of the 7 rays flow from the hearts of the archangels, and therefore paths are now open to you for your service to the light, which were not opened in the 70s or earlier decades, or in your immediate previous incarnation. You must be ready then to respond to this new opportunity and not allow your consciousness to think in the old molds of limitation. Blessed hearts, there is a great need for the multiplication of the forces of light, and I tell you many of these forces are among the European students and those yet to be contacted, as well as the South Americans. And it is because they have known the loss of freedom and the tampering with their lives, and therefore they cherish freedom at the same time as they see obviously the futility of human solutions. This is not a narrow nationalistic movement. It is a worldwide movement of light bearers, of all members of the I Am race, whose thread of contact through the mother is with the heart of Gautama Buddha at Shambhala and in the heart of the inner retreat. We continue then to take the great in-breath, drawing into our causal bodies for transmutation those conditions of density, of selfishness, greed, mass ignorance, political and secular as well as clerical control in South America. We mount with the great teams of conquerors to clear the way. Each and every action of the Elohim of these rays, blessed hearts, does leave a vacuum which must be instantaneously filled by the flames of our rays which you invoke through the dynamic decrees to these rays. And then, of course, the very next wave must be the personification of the flame, persons of God coming in the name of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and the Mahakali must appear on a one-to-one basis. Blessed hearts, until you know the meaning of going forth, door to door, upon the highways of America and beyond, and of contacting the people face to face, you do not really know the ability of the Holy Spirit to leap with utter conviction and to bring about the conversion of hearts, because you stand in such tender and pure love of God before these helpless ones. In the hour when Jesus pleaded to Peter, representing the hierarchy of the church for the 2,000-year cycle to come, when he pleaded, "Feed my lambs," for the 3rd time, he had the vision of the whole world for the whole 2,000-year period. He foresaw the hour when the church itself would abandon the feeding of the children of the light with the true and profound mysteries of the Almighty. He saw them bereft of pure leaders and begged that the organization of the church should respond to these little ones. Can you imagine the burden of his heart, knowing that in the face of the lie of the serpent, proclaiming the economic, political, and atheistic philosophy of world communism, these little ones would not have the certain defense of the knowledge of the path of the ascension, nor would they have tasted the meat, even the pure meat of the Spirit, which fed Christ and was preferable to him than that which is offered from the tables of the world, or even from the disciples. Dear ones, the Lord Christ came to proclaim the documentation of cosmic law in the defense of these little ones, and yet it has been taken from them. As blessed as some and many leaders are in the established church, it was therefore necessary to establish the Omega counterpart of the church, playing the role of the Alpha flame and now the Omega flame. The integral action of the Church universal and triumphant is the anchoring of the lost word and the missing link in each individual's chain of identity. Even so, the Blessed Mother has inspired some here and there in that church, that they might have the warning of those things which may come to pass if the dedication to the Mother Flame and the Mother Heart is not accelerated. You can understand that the white fire of the fourth ray is the very presence of the power and the purity and the love of the Mother. This white fire is the cosmic force of the woman clothed with the sun that is yours to direct as a fiery flame into the conditions of the anti-war of the fallen ones. White fire covering the earth as white fire snow from the heart of an ancient civilization where Greenland now is, and in the interior of the earth, in the etheric octave. Blessed ones, the white fire snow is a blanket that prevents activity of the fallen ones, purifies the earth, and gives protection to the saints. By lifting then, as our emissaries are doing, the burdens of anti-light worldwide in these third world nations, where revolution is on the march, we are once again buying time for your own maturity and your own realization as to what can be done for the victory. Needless to say, there are millions upon earth who are aligned with darkness and have been from the beginning. Needless to say, there are many who are not reachable because the flame is absent. The superego of Castro, easily defined in this scenario you have seen, is also present in the dying not self of the masses. There is a moment now when there is the abuse of the mother flame and the marching of the slaves of the Nephilim to their own beat and to their own war is like the dying gasp of the dragon and the final throes of the ego in every individual before Christ reigns supreme within the individual tabernacle. You can see then this lashing out and this mass technological organization of world communism as the final thrust, misusing the mother flame to build up an entire society against the day when they determine in total and depraved insanity to unleash their weapons worldwide. Some of them have actually dreamed of a giant planetary fireworks, and they are encouraged in their dream by the indecision of those who ought to be the shepherds of the people. Therefore, a high priority is the strengthening of the bonds. Understand going within, coming out. Understand the perpetual motion of the eighth ray. Understand, therefore, how you can position yourself at the inner retreat as your base and stronghold of light, and as the point of the defense of the community, at the same time that you can be extended by the lifeline of Gautama into these various areas of the world, going forth, representing the forces of Shambhala, and returning to absorb the light of the flame and the essence of nature. Each individual should consider how he may accomplish this end, by what economic measures, by what industry and creativeness, what work of the hand, what ingenuity of the heart may bring together the convergence of souls at the inner retreat. We desire to establish there the focus of the mother chakra, the white fire focus of our retreat. We desire to see there the reality of that force field which has long been in the Middle East, of which Jerusalem is the center. We desire to see the hub of the life force and of the activities, oh so constructive and devoted in nature, of those who revere life and know it is sacred and live accordingly. Let us see then what inventiveness, what can come forth as each and every one learns to meditate upon the mother flame. Learn what are the 33 coils of the ascension spiral. Understand the degrees of attainment, all 33, the conquest of the matter sphere. All of these a part of dealing with the practicalities of community life for all members of all ages. I can assure you that when beloved Alpha and Omega and the Great White Brotherhood perceive that you have a solid foundation secure in the mind of God, economically conservative and multiplying investment of God's light and supply, when education is guaranteed and an interaction of divine harmony among chelas from all over the world prevails, then they will send light bearers who have promised to embody upon earth when there is a secured force field where they may come and not be overthrown. Blessed hearts, it is not that these cosmic beings fear death or the consequences of the battle on earth. It is, and listen well, it is that they recognize that in their own causal bodies of light there is such an intensity that those who sponsor them, parents, teachers, community members, and the community itself will come under such intense opposition that could even cause the cracking of the very cradle itself. Therefore, they would not jeopardize a movement of light bearers, though yet not fully strengthened. They would not come where there is a certain amount of trembling or absence of fiery decision and dedication. They would not put upon you a burden that either you are not able to bear or not willing to bear, or simply lacking in self-mastery, not able to deal with. Thus, it is indeed necessary to offer a secure physical platform. And since it is the physical plane where Armageddon is, we have chosen this chakra, the white fire mother flame, to be anchored there. This does not remove that center from the Middle East, for these centers are divinely engineered in the geometry of God, but it establishes a secondary center and a force field into which we will pour a sufficiency of light of the great central sun magnet to magnetize the sons and daughters of God who ought to be there, at the same time that we will hold back so as not to create undue opposition to that very center until the reinforcements are there. The point of the threefold flame in the heart of Gautama Buddha, as the focus of Shambhala, will therefore have its counterpoint in the physical of the white fire mother flame. And therefore you will see how the completion of the circle will enable you to bring to that fair state of Montana that which heretofore has not succeeded. Therefore we have held that force field for the coming of the light bearers. Now let it be guarded, lest in the interim, before the full force of light bearers can gather, there be a counter-gathering of the false hierarchy's representatives to undo or attempt to curtail our plans and programs. Let us be alert. Let us make haste. For the divine us we speak, we are. And we are in you as the fiery breath of Elohim. Let the divine solution appear. That is our fiat. Let the divine solution appear. That solution, beloved hearts, begins with the universal solvent of Elohim, dissolving momentums of anti-power. The lust for power, drunkenness with that power can be seen among the watchers. In reality, they are weak, ever so weak. And in reality, the people are waiting for the Savior and for the Savioress. O Church, that is the shadow of things to come, behold the new Jerusalem descending out of heaven as a bride adorned for her husband. Thus Christed ones upon earth receive the Holy Church and the saints. Christed ones upon earth receive the descent of the Divine Mother into your heart. We will keep the vigil with you. We will multiply the call. We will deliver the action. We will inspire your own. If you have a plan, a program, or a specific area of service where you desire to make your mark in the name of Lanello, organize your thoughts, put them concisely on paper, and send them to the messenger. For there must be coordination among the movement and a committee of light bearers working under the Elohim of the fourth ray to see to it that the Mother's organization on earth makes the best use of the natural resources of her sons and concentrates in those areas of greatest crisis. It is a propitious hour for the light of your causal body to descend, for the turning of the worlds. I pass the torch of Elohim. Go forth, you who are of the light. Go forth and turn the world.